Hello!
Welcome to the non-Greg Sterlace show, except only the substitutes. I am your host, your delightful host here. I am the Pamazon.
You're lost.
Hi. I am your lost
lost.
host.
I don't know that I've ever been found, I mean, you can't lose what you can't find. Well, I guess you can, but I don't know. Whatever.
I have to ask, are you friends with Captain Crunch?
Yeah, I like Captain Crunch. I mean, I've always hoping he would up to, like, Admiral Crunch, but...
Yeah, it seems like he would be at this point. I mean, he's been on cereal boxes for, like...
Forever.
Yeah.
Misleading small children and
But,
eating sugary treats.
I love Captain Crunch.
It's like sugar frosted razor blades.
Yeah, it is. I would let mine soak.
I like
so.
Quisp better than Captain Crunch. Quisp is like...
Quisp's okay.
I like the little guy on Quisp mostly, more than
Little
anything.
beanie? No.
The little alien with the little propeller. He's cute.
I just got the Quisp character confused with those things that had the antennas off the top of their head, snorks or whatever.
Oh.
I don't know what a snork is. I feel left
Snorks are
out.
like the Smurfs' lamer cousins.
What? Wow.
They're like Smurfs that live underwater.
Yeah, there's...
What?
It's literally
I'm
what it
sorry. I have to. My neck hurts. Okay, that's better.
Smurfs that live underwater.
That's
huh?
exactly what it is.
Yeah, they're like sea smurfs. Yeah, and they're called
It's
snorks.
really stupid. It's really stupid. The Smurfs came out in the 50s. The Snork came out in like the 80s. And they're both, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just stupid. I hate it.
I agree with that sentiment to some extent.
I cannot agree nor disagree. I don't know. I've
Every
never
time
seen
I
them.
watch a new episode of Bob's Burgers on Hulu, it tries to make me watch Sea Lab 2021 afterwards.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that in years.
Yeah.
The only character I like on Bob's Burgers is Bob. I hate everyone else.
You're dead to me.
Why? Who else is there to like?
Louise?
Well, Louise is okay. Louise is fine.
Gene is kind of amusing.
Oh, Gene's so disgusting. He just looks like he would smell like sticky nastiness.
Because that's his character.
I know, but he's
the point.
gross, and I hate Tina. I hate the mom. Bob and Louise is fine.
I haven't really watched Bob's Burgers enough.
Anyways,
I gave you the word on Bob's Burgers either. Gosh. Sorry.
it's fine. I think you're okay.
Okay.
How about you have some of this delicious water?
The delicious water.
That
There
water?
it is.
You guys missed out. I just drank some delicious cotton candy Faygo, which is just as good.
That made my mouth feel weird. When I
I'm not
tasted
sure what
it.
the third letter is.
I buy this stuff on discount.
Where do you get that from?
Oh, it's a secret.
Okay, don't
Because
tell.
if I told you, no one would drink it.
What? No one
Ah.
would drink it if you told us.
If you knew where I got it from, no one else would try it, so I'm not telling anybody.
Oh boy.
I do believe it's from New Orleans.
Well, it's definitely from New Orleans, I'll tell you that much.
Okay, so for a while I thought you were going to say Flint, and then I was even more
Right,
concerned.
That was problematic,
No.
even more so.
Don't worry about it, kid. It's good stuff. I swear to God. Don't worry about it. It's real cheap famous stuff.
in Louisiana, I think it was Louisiana, there was maybe it was not. I might be confusing my southern states, but there was a supposed disease called mercury. I can't pronounce it. Anyways,
Tell us.
it supposedly was meant to be like it would make women go crazy and attack men because of some pheromone, and it was because the men ate too much lead paint. And I don't know about you, but eating any amount of lead paint seems like too much lead paint to me.
Yes, it does.
What, are you just, like, desperate and start chugging it?
That's very weird. Yeah,
Right?
I remember being a little kid, and they're always like, "Don't eat any lead paint," and I'm like, "Why would I eat paint? Like, what little kids go around eating? Maybe they were
Like,
really, maybe
I understand that lead
maybe there
has
was a high bar to begin with
a
there.
kind of a sweet taste to it, which is why
Oh, does it?
which is
Okay.
why the Romans used it as a seasoning, which was also stupid, but also their plumbing was made out of lead. So, it wasn't entirely barbarians' fault that that empire went away. Anyways, When in Rome,
Yeah.
don't eat whatever's seasoned with the little metal flakes.
When I was in high school, one of the history teachers said the barbarians were called barbarians because they went around saying bar, bar, bar. So,
Well, that's why they called them that, because it was the barbar was the onomatopoeia for somebody who spoke a different language.
oh,
Yeah.
and then so everybody in my high school, we'd always go bar, bar, bar. Bar, 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 bar.
I don't
I
remember
don't
where this was going.
understand. Bar, bar, bar.
Oh yeah, no, I understand that it's sweet, but like I feel like paint doesn't taste good. It doesn't matter if it's slightly sweet tasting. Like a little bit of sugary taste is not gonna make you go, oh, the rest of this flavor is terrible, but it's slightly sweet, so I'll eat it. I guess maybe some people did.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, to be fair, I remember eating these plants outside. Thought they were delicious. I ate them all the time. And my mom's friend came over. She's like, Marjorie, your child's eating those plants. And my mom's like, oh, it's okay. They haven't hurt her yet.
Oh my
And
god.
I had like the plant in my mouth. I was like, what? This isn't safe? But mom didn't stop me.
Organic.
I never ate them again.
May, do you like screaming yellow zonkers? Pam doesn't know what those are, and I like them.
I know what they are, but I never had one.
I think they're good.
Or any. Wait, are they a type of candy, or am I
That's
getting
what I thought
confused?
too.
They're like a popcorn.
I thought it was candy as well. Oh, come on.
I also
I've
highly
heard the
enjoy
name.
candy cigarettes. I bought all the
You can
candy
do it,
cigarettes
chubby
I
girl.
could find downstairs.
You can do it. Come on.
Candy cigarettes are the one candy that's powdery and falls apart in your mouth that I'm willing to accept in that state, because it's meant to be that way,
Yeah.
as opposed to those little candies like old people hand you and are like, here's some candy, and you're like,
Those are gross.
thank you, it's gonna disintegrate in my mouth and taste like aspartame.
But we have anise candies downstairs, and they're the
Aspartame.
ultimate old people candy, the anise
that's-
candies.
Yeah, I could feel myself calling people whippersnappers every time I take a bite.
But they're delicious, right?
I want to be like as much of an old man as possible, so
It's a good thing I bought you those anise candies.
I need a cane.
Maybe I can get you some root beer ones too.
Sarsaparilla,
Some sarsaparilla
young lady. But today's
Oh, you got a
Oh, okay. Let's
recommendation
see.
is Wrestle. It's a wonderful story about a scientist who has access to Nikola Tesla's notes, and he develops interdimensional traveling, but someone wants to get it from him and like destroy it. I forget the whole thing, but eventually he starts traveling through different dimensions to steal art pieces to sell in different dimensions and just make all sorts of money. But then, you know, his ex-partner comes chasing after him because she's like, no, you can't be doing that. He's like, I can do whatever I want. I'm a scientist, fuck you. And, you know, it's a very fun interdimensional science
Story.
fiction
Do you have
story.
any
Show some
good?
pictures.
Yeah, show us some pictures.
All
I
right.
actually want to borrow that from you.
Yeah, it's a really good one. Well, here's some fun pictures. You can't see much. Not too action. Here, you find a good picture. It's hard to find one where there's not somebody's like nipple hanging out.
Can't show no nips on the cable axis.
I mean, a lot of them
I
are
don't see
man
any
nips.
nipples here, so
Yeah, I like those. Yo, respect. Yeah, find a good picture. I don't know. I love you. You're so cute.
She's very cute.
Oh yeah, it's cool. It's a very good comic. That's 4 volumes, and they're all good. There's a colored version, but I don't like. Oh no, I don't like color comics. I think they're stupid. Not really. I don't really hate all color comics, but if there's a black and white version available, I a lot of times like. the black
even
and
if
white
the
version.
color artwork is what makes it beautiful.
No, yeah, that's fine. I just feel like a lot of times American artists don't know how to make color comics very well.
Oh, I would agree with that, especially superhero comics.
Superhero comics are especially.
She's coming for you, John.
Oh, hi, girl.
She's already. I can feel the mat starting to.
The color on this one is actually really good. I just like black.
A lot of superhero comics seem like that they were just the artist's spank bank, and then they covered it with, like, I drew this naked person myself, and then I painted it like they were wearing clothing.
Yeah, it's kind of true.
Penelope. Oh, she's looking.
Hi.
She's looking for affection from you, May.
Is she looking for affection from me, or is she looking for my cat to destroy him?
Pour me to poop on. I hate trying to think something. It's not funny.
I think she would know if your cat was here. I think she's just looking for affection because Leonardo's downstairs,
Oh,
and she won't compete with him. So.
he's quite competitive, that Leo.
Mm-hmm.
Leonardo?
Mm-hmm.
Leonardo seems so stupid. He gets beat up by Penelope all the time.
That's different than being. You can be competitive and get beaten up.
Yeah.
It's the act of wanting to compete. It's not the winning.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 'cause he loses all the time.
Well, he starts the fights with her usually.
Yeah,
He always does. I mean, I haven't really seen her ever start a fight with him.
No, he's always just being a little jerk, and Penelope smacks him around because he doesn't realize that she's like twice his size. Yeah, that's good water. I don't care. Buy New Orleanian water if you can figure out where it's from. Wink, wink. I ain't
How
saying
many?
nothing. I got a few hidden cases lying around.
You know, they got into the habit in New Orleans and that in Louisiana of not burying people in normal coffins because during heavy storms they'd float to the surface.
Yeah. They
So
have those.
drinking water from New Orleans that's just kind of canned from nowhere, kind of, I don't know.
Jambalaya.
Coffee
Ooh.
spot? Oh, I got puffied.
Sure is spicy. Come on.
Fur.
Tastes just like grandma.
Oh,
You.
ew. I've got to get her in to get her shaved.
see the cover
It's always
there?
delightful.
I don't like the cover as much as the other volumes.
See, I really like the cover.
I like the cover, but I think the other ones are more interesting.
I would like this in color because the person who made it seems to, or
The color.
Jeff Smith,
Yeah, the
unless
color
he didn't
version
do the colorists.
is really good.
Yeah, because it seems like the person, either Jeff Smith or the person who did the coloring, knew what they were doing.
I don't know who did the coloring. I'm not sure. I know Jeff Smith has done color, but he's also got another great comic that's like a serial that's about the earliest humans interacting with like other humanoid species as they were like evolving, like, you know.
Oh, that sounds
years
pretty
ago.
interesting.
That's a really good one too. Yeah.
Mhm.
Also, the creator of Bone.
Oh, cool. I see.
But May, you had something.
Oh,
to show
yes,
us,
I
did
do.
you not?
Yes. Well, John's been doing reviews of comic books and suggestions of comic books, so I have a lot larger collection of video games, so I thought I would do that.
Can I just say quickly, this
Yes.
is the cutest position the cat has ever assumed.
I can't see it.
Oh, she just moved.
Oh,
Wait.
oh, yep,
Well,
yep.
whatever.
There
It's
she is.
captured on the video program. So.
Whoa! Okay.
Got her foot against the leg of the chair so she can. Yeah, whatever.
Whatever. Penelope,
So-
cute.
For this
Video game.
episode, for my introductory one, I'm doing Micromages, the attract screen here. Not much of an attract screen. It doesn't really cycle. I find it kind of only complaint.
Static.
Yeah.
The
Only
stars
complaint.
flash.
Yeah. 6 out of 5 stars, I would say. This game. I have been waiting for this game to come out for 2 years. It is for the original Nintendo. It's a new game for the original Nintendo made by Morphcat Games, who are a 2-person game company development team out of Germany. And there's physical copies, and right now I'm playing the NES ROM copy on an emulator on the Wii because it's easier than stressing myself out and sweating all over the place and bringing an NES over and then being like, oh wait, I don't get the physical copy till June. So it's also available on Steam, and if you think Steam is awful and DRM's terrible, which I do, it's available on itch.io, which is like a DRM-free version, and if you get it on itch.io, you get the Windows version, the portable Windows version, and the NES version. I was one of the Indiegogo backers, so I got all of those things, plus the physical copy. And it is a, it's kind of a dungeon crawler, beat 'em up, kind of like in the vein of like Gauntlet and other things like that, and it's sort of Super Mario-esque too. And it's
are we all
4
playing?
players, yeah.
Okay.
It's 4 players.
Are we making Dudley play too?
I suggested it, and Dudley was not having it, so.
Okay.
I'll just watch here and drink.
He just
my
likes to
water.
watch you guys.
He's just drinking.
So
his
this is a
water.
rarity. They made this for the NES, and they thought it would be great to have a 4-player co-op game for the NES, especially now that couch co-op is coming back. You do need the NES equivalent of multi-tap. They're not particularly hard to find. They're about $20. I can't remember what they're called. There's 2 different kinds. There's a Hori one, and there's another one. The official one's the better one to use. But it's sort of like Super Mario in that when you die, very classic. It goes back to the original. You go back to the beginning of that world. But it has passwords that you can play. So it's, as long as you remember the passwords, you can start from the world you just beat. And I think the soundtrack is pretty great. Now you just control like this, like an NES controller.
What?
Hold it sideways like a regular Nintendo controller.
I never use a regular.
Nintendo.
Like
I'm gonna be-
this moves.
Where am I? That'll help.
You are
There I am. That's
blue.
me.
yeah, and
I'm
left and
running
right,
into everybody.
and 2 jumps and 1 fires, and if you that's all you really need though, for the sake of this. But
Okie dokie.
it's a 4-player game, and the goal is to make it to the end of the level. Obviously,
How do I shoot
beat all the bad
things?
guys.
Oh, there we go.
It's
okay.
1, and if you hold 1, it charges up, and then you can fire it down and shoot yourself into the air and stuff. It's
I'll let you all go ahead and die.
um,
That'll be my tactic.
not only is it a new NES
Oh, wait,
game,
there's
Morph Cat Games, the guys who made it,
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
I forgot their names. I should have prepared for this better. But the guys who made it, they stuck within the original Nintendo console's limits. So the entire game fits into 40 kilobytes of memory. Because the original Nintendo didn't have mappers or anything, so you couldn't have expanded memory.
See myself.
And so
I died.
they
Something
work,
got me. I
but you
didn't
become a
even-
ghost, and then you
Okay.
can still attack things. You can still get boxes, and you can
Oh,
freeze your
sweet.
enemies.
That's easier.
Yeah, you can freeze your enemies, and you can still collect
Should I
items, so
freeze,
you can still
guys?
have
How
a
do I
higher.
freeze them?
Well, first you gotta find an enemy.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Oh, there's a bunch of little scully guys up there. You can freeze them.
Oh, okay. What do I do to freeze them?
You just shoot at them, and it freezes them temporarily, and then it makes it easier for us to wipe them out. You're over there. But so it is.
Come back to life eventually, or no?
If you get a magic feather out of a chest or a fairy, it will bring you back to life. I almost died. But oh no, I'm dead! And when you die, you explode into a little puddle of blood, so that's pretty fantastic. Anyways, so they stuck with the original limitations, and they made all the art to work with the low resolution of the system as well. It works very well, and the controls are thoroughly modern. They're not bad at all.
Bad.
And it's got a pretty good soundtrack.
I pretty much only play StarCraft, as you
Yeah.
know.
and Gauntlet Legends.
Gauntlet Legends.
This is kind of like 2D Gauntlet Legends.
I'm very limited.
I like Nintendogs.
Oh, that's okay. That thing is
Oh,
the thing that
yeah.
kills me. Okay.
Yeah, see, they had to make the sprites really small, so that's a
I
skeleton.
know it. So we're watching these on tiny screens. We're like,
We're watching
I'm trying
these
to
on
look
tiny
backwards.
screens, and it's running through a bunch of different adapters.
I want to make like the Tiny Tim simulator. I mean, I know I'm pretty much doing that, but
Now, the version on itch.io and Steam, which you get the NES ROM for, so if you have flash cards, you can use it on a physical machine, is I believe it's $10, and the physical cartridge, I don't know how much it's gonna be, but I know I paid $58 for it. So
yeah, what's that smell?
I don't smell it.
I'm freezing these bats. Tiny little
I
bats.
swear to God, I didn't fart or anything.
It didn't smell like that. It smelled like weird.
Anyways,
nasty expired
for all of those who
roll-ups.
like retro video games and the aesthetic of retro video games, and either who have a real console or want to play on their PC, or I have tested it and wine, it will run on a
Is
Mac.
that an enemy right there where that killed me?
Where?
That bird
Yeah,
thing?
yeah, it's a bat. It will run on a Mac, or Linux under wine. I tested on 4.6 staging. I don't know how far, but as you know, It'll run on pretty much anything, emulated or the Windows version, and it'll run on your flash cart. And there's physical copies available, and it is as delightful as I hoped it was going to be. It is a very good game, and it's a nice bit of throwback graphics and gameplay crammed into 40 kilobytes, 26 levels, a hard mode, a bunch of different towers and bosses.
I'm a ghost, right? I forgot that. Okay.
And
Still help.
it's available now, and the cartridges will be available in June. But it's really good. Morphcat has made quite a couple other things for game jams. They made a game called Super Bat Puncher, and they've never finished it. And,
Who's orange? I keep hitting them.
And it makes
Okay.
Beth and me pretty frustrated because Super Bat Puncher is a great game. I'll go over that in another video. But yeah, it's pretty good. It's a good throwback, and it's a great couch co-op game.
No.
And provides a lot of
Damn
entertainment.
it. Where'd I go? I don't know how to.
Art,
I died. How did I
graphics, and
die?
controls are like superb too. They're
Bad.
wonderful. Okay, I think I'm done talking about it. You don't have to suffer anymore, Pam.
No, it's just. There we go. I can't kill him.
Oh, see, now I got them started. Now they're just.
Same thing. What kind of bullshit is that?
See, now I got them started. Now they just keep going. Okay, well, that's Micromages, and yeah, itch.io or Steam.
I feel like I should have a
$10.
review, but I don't.
And,
but I kind of do. I could.
And physical copy is going to be on the Morphcat Games store. It's pretty good. There's just a 2-person team, and they took 2 years to make it, and it's a fantastic little game.
I'll review a podcast, and I know I've said I like this one before, but I'll say it again. Clark's World is awesome. Yeah, at first I was like, I don't know.
Clark's World is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her voice is like she's so good at reading the stories. And I listen to it at night before I go to sleep. And
we always fall asleep. At least
we
I
do. And then I'm like, there's this crazy fantastical thing.
Start this two-player.
And I don't ever know like what happened, what the end was. So, because I always fall asleep. But she's very good.
In long forgotten times.
No, it's really good.
Set
It's
off to
so
save their beloved
good.
princess from the demon.
No, I will
fortress.
try and like start it this, farther ahead the next night so I can get to the end because some of the stories are really cool. But it's a really interesting podcast where they just read this woman who reads so well and has a really great voice and really the way she expresses herself for reading is awesome. And so it's just these sci-fi stories, different ones every night, and it's just someone telling you often disturbing sci-fi, often very not very positive about what's going to be the outcome of the world, but still it's good.
See, that's my only problem with Clark's World is I suffer from chronic depression, or a clinical depression, so I can only take so much of it before I have to go back to my equally depressing horror podcast. But, it's horror, so I expect it.
Yeah, Clark's World is not generally cheery. It's often very, post-apocalyptic, often. And there was that weird one. You hear that one about the guy, like, he kept going back in time and trying to save his wife, and he couldn't. Every time he couldn't.
I've heard similar
some
stories.
of it.
So
Okay, who knows? It might have even been the same author, but that was like, oh gosh.
I just want to say,
Little Explorer Mink is the best one.
This has nothing to do with anything. It was a very funny phone call I got at work earlier where this guy called. He's like, "Hey, you looking for the guys?" I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, I heard you wanted to get some men." And I'm like, no." He's like, "You sure? I can get you some men right over there." And I'm like, no.
You should have said yes and then left.
No,
you should have been like, how much oil is on them?
I thought it was more like, no, we can do the
measurements.
job, kid. Don't worry about it. I swear to God, it's we'll get it done nice and clean. That's what I was picturing, just like some weird hit. I don't know who it was. It was just some weird guy with an accent like that, and he's just like, yeah, I heard I got a call from my boss that you needed some guys.
Well, according to a friend of Beth's, a boyfriend of one of Beth's friends, so you know it's down the chain enough that it's totally trustworthy. The Buffalo Mob mostly is retired and just makes pizza now, so I doubt it was them. But
Delicious pizza.
Yeah, I make you a good pie. I swear to God. You like my pie, right?
that's definitely sausage.
It's very good that they made. Oh, it's definitely sausage.
I mean, it is sausage. I mean, the definition of sausage is quite loose.
Don't worry about it, kid. Come on.
But
Take
yeah,
a nice
Yeah, I have to find you the Clark's World with the one that has the little explorer mink one. That one was so good I couldn't fall asleep while listening
Yeah,
to
that
it. I
was
was
a
just
very
like,
good one.
and it was very long. It was like an hour and a half. So I always go to sleep late. So then I went to sleep very, very late. And the next day I was very tired, but I didn't care. I listened to it again the next day and the day after.
yes. I actually made it. So one more thing I forgot to mention is I forgot again, so I'm just gonna keep talking. But did we ever tell you? Well, I'm sure we've told you, but did we ever talk about on the show about the time Beth and I were biking through Delaware Park at night, and we stopped on that little hill where there was clearly used to be a picnic table. There's just a concrete pad now. It is down just behind the stage.
Okay.
And we were standing there with our little lights on, and this guy on our bikes shining into the darkness, and this guy walks out of the woods, and he's all dark, and he goes, "Are you the woodsman?" And we're like, "What?" He's like, "Are you the woodsman?" And we're like, "What?" And he's like, "Are you the woodsman?" And we're like, "Okay, we're gonna go now."
Yeah, I would think the first are you the woodsman?
There is no woodsman, only Zool.
I think it would have been like, man, dark coming out of the dark bushes towards me, back on my bike.
Damn, I died. But I forgot. I remember the thing I forgot. There's also, if you think it's interesting, there's also a tiny documentary that they made about how they crammed an entire game, an entire modernish game into 40K on YouTube. You can find it linked through their MorphCat Games channel. I think it's morphcatgames.de. So.
One time me and Jess were in Delaware Park, and these two small children came up to us, and they said, "If you could, would you want to have the power to make yourself a baby again?" And Jess said, "Yes, definitely." And I said, "Can I have the power to make any person I want a baby again?" They said, "You can." I'm like, "Great, that's what I'm taking."
See, if I had the power to make myself a baby again and keep all my knowledge so that I could be like, "Hey, yeah, so here's the thing," at like the age of like 5, and be like, "So I'm trans, and I figured this out a really long time ago, but this is a lot quicker."
Yeah.
I don't want to be a baby again. Then that's no.
No, but think I could make any troublesome person I wanted. Baby.
It's like
you
that
know?
horrible movie,
And they're
Baby
like,
Geniuses.
"Wah, wah," and they can't do anything. And I'm like, "Ha! That's what you get for being a baby as an adult. You get to be a baby again."
That's
Who would you
true.
make a baby?
It's a
Well, we
secret.
could make our fine president a baby, because he's really a horrid baby right now. If he was a baby, he wouldn't be in. You're gonna say there's not much difference, probably, right?
Yeah.
But the difference would be that people wouldn't be like, "I'm voting for that baby." It's like, "Wah," you know.
Yeah,
They're
but I
probably
mean, I
figuring
feel
out a way
like
to
the
make a
level
reality show.
of
President
lack
baby.
of self-awareness
President
and
baby.
concern for others in a newborn and the current president is probably close to the same. Also, he kind of looks like one.
He looks like a terrifying one, but he would be
I got this guy. I
ineffective.
got him
He wouldn't be
froze.
able to do anything.
Yeah.
And then we might make Pence a
Shoot
baby
from
as
under,
well.
John. Yeah, there you go.
Huh?
I don't
The
know.
vice president would be a baby. Babyfied. Sorry, you're babyfied.
We should have like baby gladiatorial fights.
I know. I think that'd probably be as
Isn't that just like
effective as Puppy Bowl.
yeah?
Yeah.
Except less cute and more puke.
And crying.
Yeah.
The rattles are pretty much already like weapons. I mean, just.
What
Oh
are-
wait, there's a fairy down here. Don't jump up there, John. I'm gonna get this in. Okay, continue.
What?
I don't know. I just. Oh, also, it's almost May 7th, everyone. So get your lederhosen, please. I'm very excited for this May 7th. It's my favorite holiday. So please get ready. If you see this,
What holiday is it?
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
it's May 7th.
Is it? What could it be?
Don't know.
Is it
Better say it quick.
Guys.
Is it that thing from the holiday with all the sausages from Ren and Stimpy?
It's just May 7th,
Weasel
guys.
Stomping
Trust
Day?
me.
Whose birthday? Tiny Tim? No, it's not.
Okay.